Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Once again, I'm Ned from Ned's Tech Bits, otherwise known as your friendly neighborhood basement dweller. Don't worry, ma'am, I am from the internet. And of course, this is my crypto library. Anyways, I want to talk a little bit about stories. I love stories. Stories tell us so much about ourselves, so much about our society, and how everything is in it. A lot of the times I've noticed that if you go back to old stories, some of them don't check out. Now, society has changed, evolved phenomenally since the Me Too movement, since COVID, since the turn of the century, which is pretty much normal. Now, society went through so many changes in the 19th or the 20th century, I guess. Anyway, so many changes went on. If you go the roaring 20s, the depression in the 30s, the 40s, man, every 10 years is incrementally, incredibly different. And then it seems to have kind of wore off. 70s, 80s, 90s, but now we're really running into some crazy stuff. And what I want to point out is the stories have changed. Societies, the stories. For example, 100 Shades of Grey, the Shades of Grey, okay, so you guys know what book I'm talking about, 100 Shades of Grey. You know what I'm talking about. It's about a guy that has a sexy time dungeon, and a woman gets into it, and she's all, yeah, oh man, I remember how creepy it was when the movie came out, because women were talking about this, like older women and older men were talking about this stuff open, like, okay, this is a private bedroom thing. I don't want to be talking about this when I'm ordering food. I don't want to be hearing about old people's sex dungeons when I'm buying food. If I talk about my sex dungeon when I'm buying food a year earlier, then man, these normies, if I would have talked about a sex dungeon a year earlier, they would have gone freaking nuts. It's amazing what gets popular. Oh, I was so creeped out by the conversations that were happening. And it's like I don't mind sexy time conversations. I just don't want to be having them while I'm ordering my lunch. Not about S&M and that stuff. Now, I'm all about S&M. I did that stuff back in the day. Had a cutter girlfriend, all that stuff. We're not going to talk about that. We're not going to talk about that. But anyways, it's just like I want to eat my lunch. That's it. I just want to eat my lunch. But these days, that movie wouldn't fly. That movie, that book, that story does not fly after the Me Too movement because so much has changed. So much has changed within relationships. So much has changed. And as I'm going through different stories, like, for example, the Doomsday Clock. This is one of my favorite recent adaptations of The Watchmen. The Watchmen is a very wonderful story. If you're not so pretentious that you can't enjoy a very good comic book, then you find a lot of meaning. It holds up. The Watchmen holds up today in a lot of ways. It would probably even get canceled today. Yeah, geez, I don't think you. Oh wow, I'm not even sure if you could bring out. Okay, so one of the big things about the Watchmen is that one of the anti-heroes, his name was the comedian. He was caught raping a woman. He wouldn't take no for an answer, so everyone thought he was a rapist. But then it turns out that the comedian and this woman had a sexual relationship the whole time. It's just he wouldn't take. I shouldn't say he wouldn't take no for an answer on one case when other superheroes were around, and superheroes jumped him, and everyone thought that he was the worst of the worst forever. Of course, grape is the worst thing, but and then we get into that, which is a horrible idea just to begin with. Like I'm not saying it was a good thing, but in Canada you couldn't grape your wife until the 70s. What universe is this? I'll never forget being in the library reading a book about law and finding out this was written in the 70s and finding you could not grape your wife. Excuse me, what reality am I in? And what I'm saying is definitions change through time. If you get other books that say definitions. You'll look up marriage. Marriage changes unequivocally through the whole. These these days, marriage should be a 5-year contract, I think, because we all just change too much. But what I'm saying is society is changing so quickly. And what was acceptable once is no longer acceptable at all now, and everything's changing so quickly. And we're canceling so much, and everything's changing so fast. I went to Chapters to get a copy of Dante's Inferno, and they didn't have it. Dante's or what is it? Paradise Lost with images. Oh, now before you're like, oh, you need pictures, guys. If you don't know about the prints that are in these books, go check it out. Go check out the plate etchings that are in Dante's Inferno and Paradise Lost. Oh, mon dieu. Chef's kiss. Wanted it for my backgrounds and whatnot, right? I can't believe that. I went into Chapters and I couldn't find the book I was after. That's the world we're in. That's the world we're in. Huh. 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 So if you go back and you look in old stories, like I love religion. I love religion and philosophy and therapists or therapy, whatever you want to call that. It's really early in the morning right now. And the super old religions have very cancelable stories. Like in the book of Tobit, Tobit sends his son out with an angel. Geez, I forget what they were even leaving for. But anyways, in the end of it, it was because Tobit's son wanted to marry his cousin. Anyways, he ended up marrying his cousin, but before he did, he had to dispel a demon that was hiding in his cousin's hoo-ha. Okay, I'm making that part up. You don't know where it was. And the frickin' angel I was traveling with was like, "Oh, just burn a fish's liver. Just burn a fish's liver, and that demon will be poof gone." And it was. Then we take the Book of Tobit out of the Bible with the rest of the Apocrypha. So if you get a Roman Catholic Bible, you'll have the Book of Tobit. If you don't, you won't. There was a time when it was okay to marry your cousin. Anyways, food for thought. Food for thought. But man, it's interesting how quickly society is changing. Anyways, that's it for me. Next from this deck. Let's have a good one, folks. Take care of each other, will ya?